Madden 26 made some pretty big changes on defense, and there's a lot of small tricks that can give you an edge if you know about them. In this video, I'll go over 10 defensive tips. Some are new to Madden 26, and some are just solid fundamentals that still work this year. The goal is to help you get more stops and feel more comfortable on defense, whether you're just starting out or you've been playing for a while. Now let's get into it. Okay, let's start this off by talking about my recommended defensive coaching adjustments. So as soon as the game starts and I'm on defense, I click my right stick in and I do the following changes. Option read key on conservative, option pitch key on aggressive, RPO read key on conservative, and then RPO pass key on conservative. Now, depending on what defensive formation I'm coming out in, I usually use safety depth on close and then safety width on pinch. That's going to bring them up closer to the line. It also is going to defend seam streaks better. This part I would say is optional, but all of these changes over here are going to be recommended because they're just going to take away a lot of different things. So conservative is going to focus on the quarterback on the option, so that's going to force the handoff. On aggressive, it's going to focus on the pitch on the option. And then the RPO read key, focus on the quarterback on the option. And then RPO pass key, it's going to focus on the pass coverage. So in those RPO reads and stuff like that, usually they are going to play it. Sometimes they won't. It's a little bit inconsistent. But these are the recommended settings to have. Next, what I want to talk about is what I think is the best zone coverage shell in the game, which is a Tampa 2. So the reason that Tampa 2 is so good this year is because deep halves are reworked and they defend the sidelines really well. So what I'm going to do is show you what I'm talking about by doing a route combo that would have beat cover 2 in the past, which would just be like a streak and a fade from the outside on the trip side. So usually what would happen is this fade would get open on the sideline for a hole shot like this, but you're going to see that we just can't throw that because he really gets to the sideline there. And if you look at the mid read, he's really handling that tight end streak. So deep halves are very good at defending sidelines. They are actually overcommitting to the sideline technically, and you can take advantage of that in very specific ways. Like a good player is going to know how to attack a cover 2, so I don't want to act like it's a stop everything defense. But because of how good deep halves are now, I think that it's a defense you should be calling a lot. Mid reads are also very good. You can't really fully see it here, but this mid read's protecting between the safeties very well. He's also going to take this tight end streak once he splits the safeties. The main weakness of a cover 2 right now are going to be these stock hook zones. And where they really struggle is like with mesh concepts. So if we call some kind of mesh concept, let's see if we have a stock one. Let's do tight offset. Let's do mesh halfback wheel. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So watch these drags. We'll streak the tight end. And you're going to see that they drop super far back. And you can throw drags for like 10 to 15 yards. So to fix this, we can do one of two things. One of which I'm going to talk about later. But what you can do with your zone drops is mess with them. So I'd say 10 is usually going to be a safe number. If you really want them to commit to the drags, I would use 5. So if we come out in Tampa 2, you're expecting drags. You want to stop the drags. This will be a good option. Just keep in mind that the mid read is also affected by zone drops. So in this case, what I would do is put him on a deep blue. Now watch what happens. With the 2 drags, they're going to get covered very well by these hook curls that are playing shallow. So if you need to fix your hook curls to really play shallow, that's going to be one of the best recommendations is messing with your zone drops. But then we'll talk about another thing you can do later. Just a quick heads up that we did release our full Patriots defensive ebook on acemadden.com. So if you guys really want to get more stops, we have the best blitzes and coverages in that ebook that will definitely improve your game. And I know Madden 26 is pretty hard to get stops, but as you can see in the clips, we do have crazy pressure. We do actually get stops, and this will improve your game. So go check that out on acemadden.com. You can use code PATS for 25% off on your membership. You gain access to this defense along with everything that's on the site for both Madden and college football. Now let's get back into the video. The next thing I want to talk about is how cover 4 quarters shaded down is not the same thing as cover 4 drop. So this is more of an advanced tip. So if you guys are a new player, try to stick with me. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, feel free to ask questions in the comment section. But what I want to show you is that there's going to be some remnant match logic if you shade your coverage down. So right now we have stock cover 4 quarters. And what a lot of people like to do is press Y or triangle and then right stick down from underneath. And this is going to give us hard flats, which in theory turns off match coverage because there's no more quarter flats. The problem is there's going to be some remnant match logic that remains with these quarters. So they're going to randomly follow receivers as if they're matching, even though you're trying to get them to play more of a drop zone. So I'm going to show you an example here. This is trips tight end verticals. Pay attention to the safety on the trip side. So the guy I'm currently highlighting. He's going to briefly follow the deep cross from the inside guy, allowing a throw like this. Like right there, he actually kind of recovered. But notice how he ends up following that inside cross for a second. So like right here, he follows him very briefly. And sometimes what that's going to do is give you a window to throw that. So I'll try to time it up a little bit better just to show you what I'm talking about. Maybe even lob the ball once he breaks. So there's a window right there that you can throw it on. And against cover 4 drop, that window is not going to be open. So I'll show that to you. If we call it cover 4 drop, we're going to get actual drop zones. So let's go ahead and find cover 4 drop. Do the exact same play. Verticals. We'll shade down. Move this guy out a little bit like this. That's where he was before. Now look at what he does. He's going to defend this seam just like this. So he doesn't actually bite on that deep cross at all. So I just wanted to make that a point that just because you turn off match with shade underneath doesn't mean you're deleting all of the match logic. So be careful when you call cover 4 quarters instead of cover 4 drop. For tip number 4, we have custom zone stems, which is a new feature that they added into both college football and in Madden. And it's a very useful feature if you have time to do it. And I'll show you what I think is the fastest method of doing it and then some use cases for it. So what custom zone stems allows you to do is change where your zones are playing on the field. You can actually customize exactly how you want them to play. So let's say you want your cloud flat on the outside to play all the way down in the flats aggressively. What I personally like to do is hold B or circle and then point my left stick in the direction of the player I want to switch to. So I'll go to this outside cornerback. I'll press A or X and then LB, and then I'll point my left stick all the way down. And that's going to get him to play aggressively in the flats. So watch what happens if they run a running back flat route. You're going to see that he's going to aggressively take that away. And that's because we custom zone stemmed. Now you can do that with any zone on the field, even your deep blues. So I'll show you. You can click onto this guy, stem him all the way up like this. What's the use in that? I'm not 100% sure. I wouldn't say the deep zones are really the guys you want to be stemming. Usually it's going to be your underneath zones, so your flat zones and your hook curls. The hook curls, that's going to be a really helpful one. One that I like to do, click onto one of your hook curls, press A or X, LB, and then down on the D-pad once. And that's going to get him to play more aggressively, kind of like that 5-yard hook curl that we talked about earlier with the mesh concept. So if you try to throw X, you're going to see he's going right into that 5-yard hook curl, and that's a pretty good use case for it. Now, if you don't like my method of clicking onto the players and you want to do it through quick adjustments, what you're going to have to do for that is use different menus depending on what the player is. So if it's a defensive back, you double tap Y or triangle, select the player that you want to adjust. So we'll do B in this case, and then LB, and then you can use your left stick to change, or you can use your D-pad too, but left stick if you want to go all the way down or all the way up, and then you can use D-pad for just kind of incremental changes. I wish I could show you the different depths, but it's not letting me show you. It's kind of visually bugged out right now. But use either method. I would say, clicking on is easier for me. I think I can do it faster. Like that was very quick what I just did. And you could do it on this guy too if you want to. Maybe even this guy. Now we have 2 shaded down hook curls. We don't even have zone drops turned on. We have a mid-read protected between the safeties. And overall, this is going to be very good at protecting underneath and then also protecting the sidelines. So yeah, I think custom stems are a very good feature. You should have enough time to do it if you get used to it. I do it in game all the time, actually, so you definitely have enough time. But yeah, I just wanted to show you custom zone stems and some use cases for them. This next tip is a high-level Madden tip, and it's very important if you want to get stops against good players, and that's how to stop stemmed corner routes, more specifically, stemmed short corner routes. So right now, we're in bunch strong on offense. This is the Chargers playbook. They have a play called corner strike, where we have this very short corner that goes to about the 25-yard line. This is very different than a hot route corner. Notice how the hot route corner gets a lot deeper. It goes to about the 15-yard line. So what you can do with these stock short corners is stem them all the way down. And you're going to see that since we have no baseline, we can easily outrun zones to the sideline and fit that in there for roughly 10 yards. And they also torch man coverage. So you're going to see that he's oftentimes going to win like that very, very quickly. They're in man coverage. That could easily be a touchdown. So that's one of the best routes in the game. You need to know how to stop it. Now, one of the ways that you can stop it, at least the stem down version, is just move your flat zone out a little bit wider. I would say hard flat is probably going to be better. Right about here, this is where he would be if you baselined him anyways. By the way, this is a tip I posted on X the other day. If you guys aren't following me on X, you guys are missing out on a ton of tips. So I'll go ahead and post a link to that in the description. Just click that link. It'll take you to my page. I post free tips on there all the time. So watch this now. You're going to see that the hard flat is going to be in position. Actually, in this case, we kept the stock depth. And that's a good example of why this isn't the best solution. There's actually going to be a better one that we can use. But if we stem that down and do the exact same thing, shade down, move this guy out, he is going to take away the stem down version of this just because we gave him a little bit more width so he gets to the sideline better. And that was one of the benefits of baseline. We don't have that anymore, so we do have to move guys, sadly. But something that's going to be a little bit better for kind of universally taking away corner routes and stem corner routes is to use switch stick. So cover 4 is probably the best defense to switch stick out of because it's very forgiving. You can make some mistakes and not give up big plays. And the way you want to do this is be on the lookout for stemmed corners out of formations like bunch, because that's going to be where they're the most common. So as soon as you see it, in this case, we're going to flick our right stick to the right as soon as the ball is snapped. Sprint out there, take it away, then switch back to a hook zone defender. I don't know why my hooks are playing so shallow. I think they might still be on 5. But that's going to be your more universal solution of taking this away, using switch stick and discouraging that throw with your user, because you can run out there faster by clicking on and then sprinting out and then clicking back, or I guess switching back with your right stick to the left in this case. And overall, this is probably the best solution of taking this throw away and also kind of making it so they don't put that route on the field to begin with, just because they know that you're going to be switch sticking it. It's not really throwable, so they probably want to put a different route combo on the field. So I just wanted to show you that. It's the same thing if they want to do a route combo more like this, which is a very common route combo, maybe a backside drag. Same exact concept. Just switch stick there, switch stick back. In this case, they do have that window over there on the sideline once the stemmed corner sits. So you might want to use that one a little bit longer. But yeah, I just wanted to show you switch stick is going to be a good thing to do if you want to take away stemmed corners. Okay, this next tip is one that's going to be useful for pretty much anybody, no matter what defensive formation you like to play. It can be very useful to know how to lock your user in place. So what is locking your user? Basically what it means is, let's say we want to do some form of engage blitz to help get a +1, so get a free rusher on the quarterback. Sometimes it's good to engage with the offensive line with your user and then drop back into coverage. So I'm going to show you how to lock your user in place, because last year you didn't have to do this. You could just point your left stick down, and as soon as the ball is snapped, you didn't run into the offensive line and engage with them. But now if you point your left stick down, you're going to run into the offensive line pre-snap, and that's going to cause encroachment. So if you want him to stay in place, you're going to do D-pad left and then RB for stunts. This pulls up the stunts menu. We can now point our left stick down, and we're not going to move. And this is very helpful for getting that engage. For those of you who played a lot of Madden last year, you know exactly what I'm talking about with this engage. If you're new to the game, you probably have no idea. But basically, we just want to occupy a blocker with our user and then get back into coverage. So let me show you an example here. And by the way, you can use the subs menu too with D-pad up. It's going to do the same thing. It just kind of blocks your whole screen, or like half your screen, I should say. And it's kind of annoying. So I'd prefer to use the stunts menu. It's much smaller. But let's say they block the running back. So if we point our left stick down, we're now effectively sending 7 at the quarterback. They only have 6 blockers. So what we can do is seek contact and then get a free rusher that way. So if we know the running back is blocking, this is a great way to get an extra number and then get back into coverage. So engage blitzes are still very good. And this is a great way to basically just play a numbers game and force pressure on your opponent. The next tip is one that's very helpful, but a lot of you probably know it already, and that's calling your stunts at the play call screen. This is one that doesn't work in college football right now, but it does work in Madden. And all you have to do for it is select the play that you want to call. So in this case, I'm going to call cover 4 quarters, and you have to hold down that button. So right now it's mapped to X. So we're going to hold X down, and it's going to pull up the stunts menu. And this is going to save you a quick adjustment once you break the huddle. So let's say you want to do Texas 4-man. Texas 4-man's the most popular stunt in the game. So if you want to call it, you can call it here at the play call screen. And then what you're going to see is once we come out of the huddle, that is going to be the case. We're going to have Texas 4-man. It doesn't look like we have it on the left. I'm pretty sure we do. It's just not showing it. Let's have a look. Yeah, so we do have Texas 4-man off both sides, and it's just visually bugged. But I recommend using it. I think it's going to save you quite a bit of time. The quick adjustments, I've gotten used to it. So you can use D-pad left and then RB. And then in this case, we would do D-pad left and then RB for Texas 4-man. You can do it that way too. Sometimes I do it, but most of the time it's only if I forget to do it at the play call screen. So use that. It's going to save you some time. There's not a lot of time you have to work with anyways, because most people like to quick snap you. So save yourself an adjustment and then move guys around, get guys in position to defend the ball better. And yeah, I just wanted to show you that you can, in fact, call stunts at the play call screen. For tip number 8, we're going to talk about route commit. So this is a new feature that was introduced into both games, and this is for man coverage. So really what this is about is guessing which way a receiver is going to break. And let's say you guess correctly, that route should be bagged, theoretically. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite work that way. That's how it was intended. But if you guess out and they break out, it's not 100% guaranteed that they're going to be bagged, but it does improve the chances of it being covered. So I'm going to give you an example here. So this is just a cover 1. I'm going to run this tight end on his corner route, his stock corner route. This has always been a route that kills man coverage. And you're going to see that right here, it was actually covered, but I don't know. I think the half slide is killing me there. But right there, here's a good example of it just completely torching man. So do it one more time. Covers him pretty well there. But as you can see, it's mostly open. So what you can do is you can do one of two things. You can individually route commit on that player, or you can globally route commit. Globally just means you're going to do it across the board. So every defensive back will be route committing in the same direction. Or you can individually do it. So to do individual, you're going to do Y or triangle for your secondary menu, A or X for individual. We're going to select A, which is the tight end. And then we're going to do left stick to the right for outside. So now, theoretically, he should have a less chance of getting open. Let's have a look. See how he's pretty covered there. I'd say for the most part, it is pretty consistent. It's just not a guarantee. Kind of wish it was. Wish it was a guarantee that if he goes out and you guess out, then he's bagged. But if he goes in, then he's open. In an ideal world, that's how it would work. But sadly, it doesn't. But I'll show you it's pretty quick. I'm already route committed outside on him. And we'll see right here. Covers him again. You can still kind of catch it there. Almost catch it. But he's covered. It's a scarier throw when he's actually covered like that. And you can do that with any player that's on the field. I would say mostly you want to do it with the receivers and the tight ends. And then if you want to globally route commit, just press RB. And then this is going to pull up your route commit menu. If you do left stick left, that's going to route commit everybody inside. If you do left stick right, that's going to route commit everybody outside. So this is a very helpful tool if you play a lot of man coverage. And I recommend going to practice mode and getting comfortable with this adjustment. For tip number 9, I'm going to show you how to cancel your zone drops if you don't want to keep them. So let's say you've been setting your flats to 30 because you're worried about some kind of deep corner route. So we'll go ahead and go out against Flood, which has a deep corner route from the tight end. I'll shade my coverage down. You're going to see these hard flats are now dropping to 30, which is very deep. Don't get me wrong. 30 is not the most practical zone drop, but it's kind of besides the point. I'll just show you that, he's going to drop really quickly and he's going to get to that spot on the field. In this case, he gets too wide too fast, which means you can throw the tight end there. So it's not going to be super helpful against this play. But let's say they no huddle you or whatever the case may be, and you don't want to keep these 30-yard hard flats. All you have to do is reset your play with X or square and then LT. And then when we shade back down, you're going to see we have normal hard flats. So this is a very helpful tip for kind of getting the best of both worlds. Let's say you want to have those zone drops just in case they call a certain play. If you feel like they're not going to call it, or the down and distance changes where it's like a short yardage situation where you want to have normal hard flats, you can get them this way. So reset your play. Again, it's X or square and then LT. That is going to give you these normal hard flats back instead of those 30-yard hard flats. So I just wanted to point that out. A lot of people use protect the sticks. I don't think that's a good solution at all. This is going to be one that's very helpful for you. The last tip I'm going to talk about is how to defend ags. If you don't know what ags are, it's just short term for aggressive catch. So aggressive catches are when you hold the wire triangle and you're trying to basically high point the ball and moss the cornerback that's guarding him or whatever defender. So that's what ags are. Now, here's the thing. Ags are kind of out of control in this game, and I can't fix that for you. That's up to EA to, tune them. With that being said, I'm going to tell you what I've observed, and that's letting your CPU defender contest. I know that picks are actually pretty good in this game. Like if the ball hits your defensive back's hands, you're oftentimes going to get the pick. And that's very tempting to click on to the CPU defender that's guarding the guy. But if you try to swat or go for the pick, that's when you really get agged. In my opinion, the best thing you can do is let the CPU defender guard himself. So right here, this is an ag. You're going to see that it's going to be incomplete a large majority of the time. I'll throw this multiple times. I've just noticed that if I click on myself, I'm usually getting agged. Like, especially if I try to swat. People always talk about swat, like just swat, bro. Like, no, swat sucks. You're gonna get agged so frequently trying to swat. I was kind of a believer in swat at first, but then there were too many instances where I was just getting mossed. Right there, it's actually a good example of sometimes it's just gonna happen. Sometimes you are just gonna get agged, even if you don't click on to the CPU defender. I've just personally found if your opponent's doing it constantly, you're best off letting the CPU do it and just kind of play the receiver like that. It's just going to force more incompletions, but just accept that sometimes you are going to get agged. Like that's the state of the game right now. But if they're throwing into double coverage, that's when it's okay to click on, because let's say this guy's in a deep half, just for an example, and they still throw that. Well, then I would click on and try to get the pick, because you have an extra defender there. Just when it's a one-on-one, I don't really feel comfortable clicking on, just because I know the rate of ags are going to be higher that way. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out. I just wanted to pass along the knowledge. If you don't feel the same way, that's fine. That's just my personal experience. And, hopefully this helps you guys out. So that's going to wrap up the video today. Any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section and I'll definitely answer. I know some of this can be very confusing and overwhelming, and I'll be sure to clear things up for you if you're confused. And then as always, if you want to get better at the game, go to acemadden.com. Become a member. You'll gain access to everything, including the new Patriots defensive ebook that has a ton of blitzes for you to use, and start getting more stops and winning more games in Madden 26. See you guys in the next one.